Now, when it comes to making Malva pudding, it's 3 main elements, and it's quite simple. The first element is to make your batter, almost like your main mixture. So let me take this. So over here, I've got some butter. It was melted earlier on, but we're going to melt it with this. And I mix it with some milk. This is about 1/2 cup of milk. And then I add some cider vinegar. Now, you know what's going to happen then, eh? I don't need to tell you. So we've got milk, we've got heat, and then we've got an apple cider vinegar, one of the most sour vinegars. So it's going to marry, it's going to curdle, and it's absolutely fine. It's supposed to do that. So don't freak out when you're making your Malva pudding and suddenly you've got amasi. It's supposed to do that. So going to do that. It's actually better to use a whisk because it helps it better. I like this whisk. Did you see what my daughter did? I've got the most amazing whisk. Ubuhle thought she would play a little bit, and she made it into a butterfly and showed me, Mama, what do you think? Isn't it lovely? It's a present for you. I had to be nice and say amazing. So I'm going to do this. Whisk, whisk, whisk. All right, now then set this aside. And then the second part I'm going to do is, do we have a slightly bigger one, Kululan? Yes? Not yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is, first it's the butter, it's the eggs. Next, I've got 2 large eggs, if not extra large eggs are best. And then I'm going to beat them. And then as I beat them, they must become nice and light and fluffy in color and become a lighter color as well. And I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of sugar per time. So let me go. So you know what's the beauty? Do you mind if you move it this side so they can see? Okay, the beauty about whisking in general is that because of the incorporation of air, it adds volume, not only volume, but it makes whatever you are making slightly lighter. Which is great. My kids always get fascinated with the color changes and the volume, especially of egg whites. I've just added some apricot jam. Going to whisk that. Whisk. Okay. Now, first part done, second part done. What do I do now? Now I sift in my dry ingredients. And for my dry ingredients, I've got some flour, I've got some bicarbonate of soda, and a pinch of salt. Oopsie, there we go. Mix it in first. Mix, mix, mix. And then as I whisk it, I add a little bit of this one. It's now cooled down. A little bit of it. And this is called the alternative. You're alternating method. Alternative method. Okay. So I'm going to mix it a little bit. That is fine. And I don't want to overmix it because then it's going to have such big holes, which I don't like. Once it is cooked, a little bit. Yep. Easy, right? And what do I have to do now? The third part. I'm going to add a little bit of water, and then I like to end with the flour. So there, adding all that flour up. There we go. Can you believe it? You're done with the first part of this. It's super simple. It's really simple. You make your amasi mixture with the butter, milk, and the apple cider vinegar. You whisk your eggs with some sugar, and then you add apricot jam to it. And now you sift the dry ingredients, put them together, and that's it. Now, what I'm going to do is to pour this into either one big, roasting tin. If not, I like to make them individual and make them into muffin pans. And Kulani is going to help me. So same thing as before. Make sure that it is nicely greased with some butter. Add everything until they are almost the same size. And Bob's your uncle, Siba Mtungana is your aunt. Is it going to be a thing, this? I think so. And then, while that is done, I'm going to make the sauce, which is the malva pudding sauce, because that's the batter, that is the bake part of it. What makes it nice and sticky is this guy. So just going to wipe that. Yep. And in here, I've got some butter, some sugar. I'm going to put my heat on. Some sugar. I've got some orange juice. Let me do it this way so you can see, Steve. And then just whisk again. Whisk, 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 and bring this to a boil, just like this. Now that went into the oven, okay? We did make it so that we cut down on time. Can I please see the ones you made earlier on, Kululani? Yes. Perfect. Yeah. So once they're cooked, you can take everything except for this. Thanks. So once they're cooked, they will look like they look something like this. Now it's very important. Obviously, this is a demonstration. We must make food ahead of time in order to cut down on the time. Otherwise, if we were to make this recipe from start to finish, we'll have to wait about 40 minutes in between, which just does not make sense. So what the best thing to do is, as it comes out of the oven, can I have some skewers or anything to prick with, even if it's a knife? Of course. Thanks. I mean, if it's a toothpick, even better. So what I do is I just make, toothpick is better because this makes bigger holes. So I just make tiny little holes on this like that. All around while I am melting. You can see I'm a mother of 4 because multitasking comes very easy to me. Ooh, silly Siba. Okay. There. Where is the multitasking? I can't poke and I can't poke and stir at the same time. Oh, goodness. Okay, awesome. All right, now, go see. Okay, now this the major thing with this is to make sure that the major thing to this is to make sure that the sugar is dissolved, and it is dissolved, and you can see it's coming to a simmer, and then I add some cream to it. If you want something different, I have tried this with some coconut cream, and it works pretty well as well. If you want to try something slightly different than the usual. So some cream to this, and then it must just simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to tilt it so that you can see it's this gorgeous, velvety looking, buttery sauce. It's really lovely. This is the magic maker for the Malva pudding. And even sticky toffee pudding, actually. They have a similar sauce like this. So imagine that this is coming directly from the oven. It's nice and hot. I've just pricked it. And this cooks for about 5 minutes, and it is a dairy. It is cream, rather. And because it's cream, like milk, it will go high and will want to spill over. And I want to give you a tip for that. And what you do is you take any wooden spoon, you place it like this, and you won't have any problem with any spillages. And what happens is, because the steam goes up, the wooden spoon is such a poor conductor of heat, so you can also use a silicone, anything that's not a very good conductor of heat, places in the middle. It breaks the air that would have otherwise bubbled out. Okay, so for about 5 minutes, we've made ours already. So I'm going to fast track the process. Okay, let me warm KJ's once.